Escape Fitness is here at the Fit Expo in Los Angeles, California. It's a show I've been coming to for about 7 years now. And the reason I come to the show is really ideas and people that are on the cutting edge of the space. Things in a lot of cases that are yet to break through. And I always enjoy coming here and speaking to people and getting an idea about what's happening, trends and new things in the industry. Today, we met a number of people and I want to know 3 key things. What's new in equipment and training? What's relevant in terms of nutrition and supplementation? And then finally, what people are following from a social media perspective and also in terms of podcasts. So I think you'll find this episode really interesting. We've got a great selection of guests. If you do enjoy this episode, then please give us a like, leave us a comment, and thanks. And I hope you enjoy this week's episode live from the LA Fit Expo. Guy Cisternino.
What's going on?
What's this bit here? Quadro. Is that because you got like
No, it
squads?
has nothing to do with it, believe it or not. It actually means the scene in Italian.
Oh, okay.
Because people usually say like, wherever I go, there's some sort of scene. So my buddy nicknamed me, and then in Italian, we looked it up and it was quadro, and he was like, well, you got big legs and it's the scene. He's like, it's a 2 birds with 1 stone.
And what's it, when you say a scene, is that like something's going on?
Good or bad? Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like either ruckus or people acting up or somebody's arguing or somebody's laughing, or it's like there's always a scene around me.
Okay.
So that's kind of what it means.
All right. And what about your professional career then? What kind of scene you got going on there?
Oh, well, professional bodybuilding scene is done. You know, that I retired in 2021 just due to injuries, really bad shoulders, not able to train the way that you guys see me train in the videos that you watch. But so professionally, between opening up a gym in PA called Muscle Link Gym in Bethlehem, the start of Uprising Extracts and then partnering with Mint 45, and then the clothing, my clients, travel and sponsors. It's been crazy. Retirement's been a lot busier than competing.
That's retirement.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah, ask away.
First one is about equipment and training styles.
Sure.
You've been around, you've seen many gyms, I'm
Yep,
sure.
all over the world.
Lots of training ideas. What at your stage in your life and your career, what's sort of top of mind, whether that's like a particular type of equipment or training that you feel is important that we can share today?
So I started going to more of like push-pull legs, doing like top sets and feeder sets towards the end of my career. And then I found, once I retired, I went back to my old way of training, which was like they call it the bro method, which is, 1 body part a day, very high volume, pyramiding the weight up as you go. And just, I enjoy that style of training because I didn't fall in love with bodybuilding.
Right.
I fell in love with working out and became a bodybuilder because of that. I'm not a bodybuilder that just works out. I work out because I love it, and I say it all the time. There's a difference between guys that are bodybuilders because they love to work out, or they're a bodybuilder, because you can love to work out, and that's why you're a bodybuilder. And then there are guys that love bodybuilding, so that's why they work out.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Bodybuilding was just there. It wasn't what I love. Like people are like, oh, you're retired. Yeah, I'm at the gym every day. I love it. So for me, that's the training method that I think a lot of people get away from. And I think that's the training method that you see the most results from.
Right.
And the reason why people get away from high volume, more sets is because it's more time in the gym, it's harder, it's more energy that you have to waste in the gym. And I think people like a quick, easy fix. Get in, get out. I can do push-pull legs. I do 3 sets for chest. 3 sets for chest. I used to do 20-something for chest. So I just went back to what I fell in love with and how I worked out. And being retired, I don't even really feel retired. Besides, I don't look like that anymore.
I like that idea. Like I tend to do. I've gone for a period where I've done the same, like 1 body part, and then I kind of mix in a few other fun things, some functional movement, and I find that works for me. How old are you, just out of interest?
42.
Oh, okay.
But it's funny that you said that because 6 months ago, I got highly addicted to boxing. So I do one-on-one boxing 2 to 3 times a week with my coach, Alex Wilkie. And I told him if I started boxing before bodybuilding, I might have never bodybuild because I like it that much.
Wow.
Yeah, boxing has taught me a lot. in the past 6-7 months.
In what way?
Well, I mean, I'll put it as simple possible. As far as fighting or boxing, if I was going to get into a fight back in my day, the first thing I would do is this: Now, if I would get in the fight, I wouldn't even come near you. I would stay back. I wouldn't throw my right. There's just a lot I learned that even in a situation like that, I'd be a lot more calm. Yeah, yeah.
So you're preparing.
Yes, yes. I'm preparing for the scene moment.
Nutrition, supplementation. What would you say is important now to you as it probably was when you were younger? Like, is there any things that have been consistent through your whole career that you realize you've got to stick to?
Yeah, dieting. Because if we look at like most bodybuilders, right? When a bodybuilder is in their off season, not all of them, because they're the ones that are at the elite level don't do this, but the majority of people aren't at the top of the level, right? So in the off season, people look at an off season like, oh, I can kind of do what I want. I can eat this, I can eat that, I can go here. Same when they retire, I'm not bodybuilding anymore. I can do this, I still weigh my food. I still pay attention to what I eat. I still only have one cheat meal a week. I still do cardio I do cardio 7 days a week, box twice a week, train 5 days a week.
How do you do cardio?
I run now.
Oh, okay.
I actually run, like on the treadmill or outside.
How long do you run for?
30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, because instead of being on a Stairmaster for an hour like this, I could run for 30 minutes to get more caloric burn and better heart, cardiovascular for my heart than I can walking. So I've actually learned more about myself and my body and about overall lifestyle nutrition after I retired.
Wow. Final question.
Ask away.
Social media or podcasts, is there anyone now that you're looking at or following that inspires you to do new things or to think a little bit differently than probably you have done before? Anyone that you're worth sharing about?
So being that, me and Nick Walker have the podcast, Mutant in the Mouth.
What's it called?
Mutant in the Mouth.
Mutant in the Mouth.
And then I obviously Fouad has a podcast called Bro Chat. And honestly, the things that I look at are guys like Jay, Fouad, Seth Feroci, guys that are making changes and doing good, not only in bodybuilding, but business. Seeing my friends be successful and grow companies and grow brands and live a life that they live now. Because when you're a bodybuilding, it's very hard to live like this. I don't want to call it a lavishing life, but we're not going out, we're not hanging out, it's very like secluded in captivity. And to see my friends doing well in the same vertical that I competed against a lot of them in makes me very happy, because I like my friends to be as successful or more successful than me. And I think surrounding yourself with people like that is what changes your views of a lot of things in life. Because who you hang out with, they say, birds of a feather flock together. Hang out with the wrong people, you're not gonna get the right kind of, energy back that you want. So,
thank you for your time.
Anytime, bro. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're here with
Martins Licis, 2019 World's Strongest Man.
Oh, okay, man. Now I know why you're totally jacked.
Funny enough, I'm 65 pounds light right now. I'm going through a jujitsu phase, so I've done what I want to do in strongman. I'm kind of giving it a full-on go in this other sport, so trying to do a whole new endeavor.
So I got 3 questions. I want to find out what's going on, what's some of the latest trends. So first question I've got is what's new from an equipment perspective? Is there any new styles of training or new equipment that's sort of top of your mind at the moment?
Oh, well, if you really want the answer to that, check out my show Strength Unknown on YouTube.
Okay.
We travel the world investigating fantastic and unique feats of strength and stories. And in Tibet and the Basque Country in Spain, in Pakistan, India, they have these unique stone lifting styles. For example, in Basque Country, Spain, they have there's one guy that was able to lift a 700-pound stone to his shoulder, but it's like a rectangle. It's got handles and he levers it up to get it up. I think there's nothing cooler than stone lifting. So if you guys really want to get strong, stone lifting is the ultimate strength sport.
Okay. Nutrition and supplements. What's the latest thing you're thinking about in that space?
The latest thing is the oldest thing. Eat good food. Get your protein in, get your macros in, get a good balance of carbs, protein, fats, and make sure it's not coming from junk.
And social media, podcasts, what's some of the stuff, who are you following or listening to?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I would just say check out my show, Strength Unknown, on YouTube. That's the one. That's where it's at.
What is it? Where can we find you?
So you can find me. You can look up my name, Martin Licis, on YouTube, or look up 2019 World's Strongest Man. Check out that name in YouTube, and you'll find the Strength Unknown playlist there, where I just travel the world and do crazy, cool, interesting stuff.
That sounds like a great thing to do.
Thank you, brother.
Nice to meet you, mate.
Thank you for coming by.
Billy, what are you doing here today? You look super fit and jacked.
Matthew, I am here competing, Los Angeles Fit Expo. This is my first competition in 8 years.
Awesome.
So getting back into it, yeah.
I've got 3 questions for you, okay?
Bring it.
First one, equipment. What's something new that's at the top of your mind in terms of equipment or training that we should know about?
I myself train at Gold's Gym, the mecca of bodybuilding. We're constantly looking for new machines to come in. The tough thing is, it's the old school stuff that has been around forever that you really want. You can't get past dumbbells sometimes. You can't get past bands sometimes. Sometimes the simplicity is what you really need. And so like, that's kind of what I like. It's like old school, keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Food and supplements, like what anything new that's going on in that space that we should know about?
Doing competition prep, fish was like through the roof.
Fish?
for
What
me.
kind of fish?
I was doing tilapia, which
Tilapia.
I am told is not the best thing to be prepping on. But man, I gotta tell you, it shredded me like crazy. So fish and
Let's
rice.
have a look at the apps, come on. Oh, okay, well there you go.
They're
Tilapia.
there. So yeah.
Last question. Social media influencers, podcasts,
yeah.
what are you following at the moment?
Sam Sulek, how can you not be? I mean, come on. Yeah. Anybody that really cares wants to show what they're actually doing, not look how much weight I can move. You know, like when someone actually loves the sport, that's fun to watch. You know, that's what it is.
Well, good luck in your show, Billy.
Thank you so
Thanks so
much.
much for your
Right
time. Still Swole, and you are Swole.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Where does
Yes.
the name come from?
Well, it's a bit of a journey. I'm 67 years old.
Man.
Okay.
67.
I'm 67 years old. I've been training for 54 years. All right. So I'm a bit of a phenomenon or a unicorn in the country right now. I mean, I'm taking it over by storm. And no one wants to believe that I'm 67 years old.
I don't believe you're 67.
No,
I
but
think
I was, so I eat the same meals every day. I walk 5 miles every day, okay? And it has just worked for me. And I just kept that regimen going, and I just
you just look awesome.
what I did was kind of looked at how I trained. After I made about 40 years old, into my 50s, I changed to just machines. No straight bar, no free weights, mostly stacks, that type of thing. And it has really kept my longevity into the sport.
Well, I'm 54 and I've got 3 questions for you, okay?
Okay. All
The
right.
first one, equipment then, like what you mentioned resistance machines, but is there a particular type of training style or equipment that you've seen that's top of your mind at the moment?
You know what? Body Mass used to be my choice, but not there anymore. I think JW Sports has some good equipment also. And then, there's some other people that I may be missing, but that's what I'm off the top of my head. I have a gym in my home, so I don't get out in the gyms that much at all. So all the new equipment.
You're lucky, you got a nice place.
Yeah, man. So I got everything. If I need another piece, I buy it. Okay. But I normally train at home.
Okay.
But gym equipment. I'd love to be a spokesman for gym equipment if I could, or
Okay.
whatever.
Nutrition, supplements, what kind of, like, what's your thing to keep you looking like this?
Glutamine, arginine, magnesium, vitamin C, a good gut cleaner, a colon cleanse, that type of thing. I stay away from protein because it can filter into your livers and your kidneys, and it can stay there and it can cause some problems. But kidneys, I'm sorry. And so I don't do that. My doctor told me to, not, and creatine, I don't deal with creatine at all. So, and then amino acids. So it's about 5 or 6 supplements that I go to at all times. And it's not a big, all the supplement stuff, I agree with it. But for me, I have to step away from that and understand what's really vital for me to continue this journey. Make sense?
So you're going to be looking like this 80s, 90s. And...
I would hope so. I would hope so. Right
My
now,
last question, okay?
Go ahead.
Social media, podcasts, who are you listening to, following that inspires you?
This guy right here, CT Fletcher, we did a video together, a YouTube video a couple of months ago, and he actually gave me my start. And he discovered me and started having me come over to his facility and doing videos. Now I've done other things with other people, and it's just getting more and more prevalent. The thing about it is, sir, you got to understand something. I've only been doing social media for 1 year.
Wow. Are seated machines slowing your members down? With many people spending the whole day sitting in their car, at the office, and in front of screens, then you have to ask yourself, should you really be sitting down when you're exercising? As seated machines do not promote all body movement, then a solution that encourages standing, putting the body in an upright position, will make workouts more effective. Help your members break from sedentary habits with more active training. Are you interested in creating a more dynamic workout environment? Then contact us today.
Kenny Coop interviewed me at the Mr. Olympia. It's at 3 million views right now. Wow. 3 million. So I did a video not long ago, yesterday, when I got in on Rodeo Drive with a guy named Alan, a Nigerian guy, he's like 6'9". The video dropped today, and it's over 40,000 right now.
Wow.
So I have not arrived in social media, but I'm getting there.
You're about to.
Yes, I'm about to. And you're interviewing a guy that's about to break through, because I think my biggest followers are on TikTok.
Really?
And it's all young people. And a 67-year-old guy like me, it's not relevant on TikTok. But they really, really love me.
So have you got any like 50s and 60-year-olds, or all the younger ones?
No, the 50 and 60-year-olds are gravitating to me, but I feel that my biggest advantage is how I can break through the young people, and I'm an older guy.
Absolutely.
That's something that is unheard of. When I go back to my hometown, I train with the guys that I started with, their grandkids. Really.
Where's your home? Where are you from?
I'm from Louisiana originally, but I live in Texas, Tomball, Texas.
Nice.
I'm a director of business development for a steel manufacturing company in Raleigh, North Carolina, but I work from home.
Nice.
And I started this, like I said, I started with social media as just a hobby.
What's your social media handle?
Still Swole JV.
Still Swole. And what are you, like TikTok, Instagram?
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate
Thank you
your
so
time.
much.
Hey, we got John Kodak. You must be the best dressed man in this place.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Got to. When I step outside, I put it on. For real. Yes, what's up, man?
What's the inspiration for this outfit?
Everything. I just want to look good, want to look fine. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I do anything new, I want to look good when I do it. And I look great in this. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You also got some good shape on underneath that red outfit that you've got there.
Of course.
I want to know about equipment. Like, what fitness equipment or workout style is like top of your mind at the moment?
I love hamstring. Hamstring machines are great, you know what I mean? I'm known for my back, my lats and all that. So all the machines, they got like different variations, different hand grips. I love that. So hamstrings are my favorite. I just like to train, man. You know what I mean? Train 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, sometimes a day. So, hey, man, 2 days is what's up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I'm just a fitness junkie. Gotta look good, though.
Gotta look good.
Gotta look good. Naked and with your clothes on. Come on, it's a double decker. Let's go.
Food and supplements, like, is there anything at the moment that you've kind of found out or discovered that really kind of gets you to what you want to look like and feel like?
Steak and chicken. Steak, chicken, rice, eggs. Eggs is like amazing. You just gotta eat. You want to get big, you want to look good, you gotta get that fuel in you. People act like they're scared to eat food. Like, no, I eat like 4 to 6 times a day. You know what I mean? And so, yeah.
All right, and my last question.
Okay.
Podcasts, social media influencers, who are you following that you're picking up some interesting stuff from?
I love Indio Champ. Indio Champ is what's going on, Indio Nation, Simeon Panda, you know what I mean? So I like them, but CT Fletcher, old school, just the extra old.
He's around the corner.
Yeah, I know. I've been an Iron X, man. I'm from Compton, so yeah, I always show that love. So that right there is just like that extra motivation. Gotta make sure you get it, go after it every day. This is a full-time, 24/7 job. You know what I mean? Being fit is more, it's a lifestyle. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
you,
your time.
baby. Have a
Thank
good one,
you.
man.
All right, Mark Harley.
Yes.
Thanks. What's this stuff I'm trying here?
This is a protein paletta.
A protein what?
A protein paletta.
Paletta. What's a
Which,
paletta?
in other words, a paletta is an ice cream.
Okay.
You know, when you see the Mexican street vendors pushing the paletta goats.
Oh, okay.
So that's where it comes from. Originally, the guy, Owen Hansen, who created the product, he's a former D1 national championship player, played with Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, that generation. After graduating, he didn't go pro like these guys, but he did do gambling rings and he got involved with the cartels, pushing keys. As you can see over there, there's some fake bags of cocaine. So eventually he gets busted by the feds after making millions of bucks illegally. He gets locked up for 10 years, comes out and has this idea based on this thing that he did in prison, which was you take ice, you take salt, you take the milk, you shake it up with the protein, and all of a sudden you have this iced protein, right? So, hence the California iced protein, California palettas.
You don't have the prison bar, sell bars or anything like that going on.
No, but they do have a video of what he does. They kind of tell his life story. They show him in prison making the ice cream himself. So, you know, I met him randomly at 24 Hour Fitness, and now I train him a couple times a week and have gotten to know him. He's a really cool guy, and so basically, you know, he's a felon trying to do good. So that's the story in a nutshell. Nothing wrong with that, yeah.
Well, I love the brand.
Yeah.
And you definitely look like you work out a lot.
I do.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, all
Yeah.
right? First one, fitness equipment or training styles. Like, what's kind of top of the mind for you at the moment regarding either equipment or ways of working out?
Well, the top of the mind for me is what a lot of people don't realize is when I meet people, I send them a protocol. Like, if you just give me your email, the ebook that I've written is essentially just a long email about high intensity, low volume training. So most people will imitate, they'll go, oh, what does Jay Cutler do? Well, he does 30 reps, he does 30 sets of biceps. And I go, well, that's too much for most people. Dorian Yates, former 6-time Mr. Olympia, would work up to one heavy set to failure. And so this training protocol that is an inspiration of Mike Menster and Dorian Yates is super high intensity, lower number of sets. So low volume, high intensity, but gun to head failure, right? That's very uncomfortable for a lot of people because most people, you go, put a bar on your back and squat to failure. You want to quit before your mind wants to quit before your muscles hit failure. But I've done leg workouts that are about 6 sets, couple sets of squats, couple sets of deadlifts, couple sets of calves, and I'm toast if the intensity is high enough. So I think for me, a trend is understanding that and how effective it can be, especially when non-enhanced, because I've taken steroids and I've trained naturally. I've used the high intensity, low volume protocols while natural, while in a deficit, and they still work. So I go, I know that work, and I can pass it on to the average person because a lot of people make money off just getting the basics. If I make it seem to you like fitness is so complicated, you need me to figure it out. I go, no. Do the basics correctly. I can get you big off incline bench, overhead press, lat pull downs, heavy rows, deadlifts, squats, leg press, pick 8 things and you can get huge if the intensity is high enough. So you don't need to go in. Now you may want to, maybe you like doing high volume. Maybe you like doing 8 different exercises. Okay, so be it. However, it's interesting when you look at the sort of idea of what's the minimum dose for the maximum result. And it's a lot less than most people realize.
Yeah, I would totally agree with
And then if you start with that, then you go, okay, if you want to add in more, go ahead. But you saw that doing that 1 or 2 sets of all-out bench a couple times a week, your chest is getting bigger. You don't need 30 sets. Most beginners especially don't need 30 sets. But they jump in, and I talk to a lot of guys who are like, yeah, I got this workout routine, but I don't really know why I'm doing 6 sets of lateral raises and then this many sets, you know, like they're confused because they go, how hard am I supposed to go? It's easier to break it down and go, 1 set, all out, gun to head, you know?
So nutrition's key as well. Like,
of course.
What's one of your kind of top tips in terms of nutrition or
The
supplementation?
top tips, because people always ask, what's the perfect diet? And I go, well, the perfect diet is the one you're gonna stick to.
I like that.
Whether it's keto, whether it's carnivore, whether it's a higher carbohydrate diet, at some point you have to know your macros. But if you're obese, my first tip is eat protein as the first thing each meal.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed at how much you stop wanting to snack if you have a protein shake or a piece of steak or chicken. Before you get to the carbs and the fat, your cravings for those things go down. So the number one thing is when I go, you're overeating, you're fat. I go, don't even count your calories. Tell me how much protein you're eating. The moment you start eating your body weight in pounds, in grams of protein, so I'm 260. If I eat 260 grams of protein every day, I don't crave junk. I'm not even, and I'm a binge eater, you know? So, that's on the pyramid of things, you know? It's like, well, I guess the foundation would be eat more protein. Then just generally, don't bring junk food into your house. Because I talk to people like, I can't simply eat Oreos. I'm like, why did you buy them? Why did you buy the ice cream? Make it difficult. If you really need Ben & Jerry's, make yourself get in that fucking car and drive there.
Get one of these.
Yeah. Don't go to the store and stock up on crap, because I have a lot of discipline. If you put a table full of desserts in front of me, I have much less discipline, you know? I go, yeah, I'll have one.
Last question.
Yeah.
Podcasts, social media. Who are you following to get some good information that's inspiring?
You know who? Maybe an underrated one that I always, because people always ask me about PEDs, right? And I'm happy to talk about it because I believe in transparency and I believe in educating people, especially young kids, because kids that come to me, they're 19, they go, what's SARMs or steroids? And I go, bro, no. But I made that mistake. You know, as a kid, I was younger. I did steroids to play football in college, but then went natural until I was 35 and started doing TRT again. If I could go back, I would have not done that, because you can't undo it, right? So there's a right and a wrong way to do it, and there's a science to it. There's a guy named Vigorous Steve. Look up Vigorous Steve on YouTube and Instagram too, but he does these great long form videos. I send his beginner's guide to PEDs to people, because people have these questions, what should my first cycle be? And they go, first of all, are you over 30? What's your, if you have all these other things in place, I go, okay, now you're ready to try a little bit of test or growth hormone. But Vigorous Steve, he's not like a household name, but he has the most precise, free scientific information available about safe, and he's done this for thousands of people. And, little known fact too, he's the guy who exposed the Liver King for being not natural. Wow. Because the Liver King went to Steve and said, and he was like, these are the emails that got leaked to More Plates, More Dates. He was like, oh, I'm on Deca and Winstrol and Test and HGA, Moa. So he wanted Steve to be his coach, and then he's like, nah, he backed out of it and gave him his money back after realizing he wanted to become a superstar that was based on being I'm natty. So in other words, he really knows his stuff, and there's so many different videos these days about steroids, but if you go to Vigorous Steve, you'll learn everything you need to know. So that's it.
Thank you for your time.
Of course,
I've
yeah.
learned a lot.
Yeah.
Particularly about Vigorous Steve.
Vigorous Steve, yeah, he's the man.
Lola Montez, 5 times Olympia. Yes. I'm very impressed. That takes some serious commitment.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I've got a couple of questions I want to ask you. Okay, understanding some of the trends that are going on in the fitness world, and particularly about training. So what's top of your mind, either from an equipment perspective or a training perspective, that that's really important to you at the moment?
Definitely switching up between the machine exercises and the free weights, for sure. For me, my category specifically, I love back training. I definitely see an increase in back training when it comes to women and just in general, which traditionally you wouldn't see.
Why is that, do you think? Is it just it's nice to look at a woman's nice shaped back, or what do you?
I think there's like this preconceived notion that you just get wider, like just all over. But what they don't understand is even supermodels train back, and there's a reason why. It's to create that taper, which actually does give you an illusion of a smaller waist. So you can train back without adding the mass, which you would by getting free weights, lifting heavy. You don't have to do all that, but you can train back to add a little bit of width, which is a waist hack.
Let's go on, turn around. Let's have a look at your back. Come on. Okay. All right. Wow, that's way better than my back. What about bands? Are you doing any? What do you do anything
So
with
the
bands?
bands I used to incorporate a lot of like full body plyometrics, band work, which is great for twitch movements, which is great for mobility, which is also great for creating those lines, especially in the side of the leg, you know what I mean? And also, I definitely warm up every leg day with a few side to sides on the bands. Just gets the blood going all the way up through the glutes.
I thought my quads were like, now you've kind of made me like feel.
Dude, never mind the quads. Let's check out the shoes, bro. The shoes are fitting. Yes.
All right, nutrition.
Yeah.
What's like supplements or nutrition? Is there anything that you've got to the stage now where you think this is really important? I wish I'd have known it like years ago.
Eat, and eat. Okay, like honestly, you've just gotta gain the calories, put on the weight, put on the mass. You've got to eat the food. You've got to eat every morsel. This was something I definitely took for granted earlier on. I definitely didn't see the importance of, especially in the off season, you kind of get to this point where you're like, okay, that's enough. I've had enough. But really, truly, when we get to stage, when we cut down that muscle, you realize I could have went a little bit more. I should have ate more. I shouldn't have left all those little bits and pieces on the plate. So
that's the opposite to what people think, though. They're like, eating less, and
that is exactly. Oh, totally. And that was also my thought process before this. Is let me see if I starve myself, maybe eat one meal a day, I might fit into but that's not the case. What ends up happening is you ended up just getting like. I felt like loose. You get a little just like loose skin. You get a little bit saggy. You get a little don't feel right? But with eating more food, gaining more mass, I'm filling out my body. I actually feel a lot better. I feel a lot sexier about myself. I feel a lot more confident when I wear clothing, which is what people, they assume the opposite.
So what there's obviously it's a stupid sort of statement, but there's a big difference between men and women.
Right.
What is some of the, I guess, bro science that that's important for you to probably share for women that are wanting to get in shape and look great, that probably is not commonly understood, that you've learned through your career, whether that's like about building muscle, dieting?
Well, again, I guess one of the things that you would assume is if you eat less, you look better, but that's not always the case. Eating more actually fuels the body, fuels the metabolism, speeds everything up, and you actually do burn more when you eat more, in moderation, obviously. In terms of bro science, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really do the bro science. I don't really follow those creatine trends. I keep hearing everybody's on creatine. I don't know what this creatine trend is. All the way through peak week. I don't know. I don't know any of that stuff. I'm super old school. I keep it super, super old school. And when it comes to women, just try it out. Honestly, I would start with, a full body type of HIIT group workout. See how you feel after that. I bet you will feel better than any sex you've ever had in your life. I'm just saying.
That's setting the bar pretty high.
It is. But I'm telling you, the high you get from working out is just so rewarding that when you don't work out, you see the difference.
Yeah.
When you eat foods you shouldn't be eating, you feel the difference. So it's definitely a lifestyle. There is no bro science. There's no shortcuts, bro. You just gotta grind. Every day is Groundhog Day, and you gotta love doing that. You've got to be okay with repetition, right? You've got to be okay with repetition because that's what grows the booty. So.
Last question.
Yes.
Social media influencers or podcasts, is there anyone that inspires you that you feel is sort of on the pulse in terms of legit information or just anything that you've probably found that's been useful for your own journey?
I actually watch a lot of few different, so I love watching the men's open bodybuilders. I love watching because ultimately for them, they're trying to grow every aspect of their physique. So when you are looking to like find different like gym techniques maybe to help maximize some of that growth, just take their physical mass out of the equation and just look at their form and the way that they're attacking that exercise and their breathing and all that kind of stuff. Take those things into account. Men's physiques also, because again, I am in the figure category, so we're focused on having a nice broad, wide upper body, tapered low midsection, and then some nice full legs. So when you have that, you could really dabble into almost every category that is kind of implemented for gaining muscle, gaining weight. So like wellness for the legs. I've seen so many guys in the gym now doing glutes.
Yeah, I was in a gym the other day, and I'm like in Arizona, and like all these guys doing
glutes. How many? I mean, a couple years ago, you would never see a guy on a booty builder. No. You wouldn't. Okay. Now they're lining up. There was always a bit of a
thing about it,
right? Well. They're lining up now.
So okay, let me ask you a question on that. Yeah. So when you're looking at a guy, like, are you checking out his booty? Is that an important thing for a woman?
I mean, we don't check it out. We just notice when it's right, right? Like you just know. So
guys really should be doing that.
Absolutely.
But also too
for back pain too. Like it's a big deal. It's a big thing, especially if you're on your feet a long time. Weak glutes. That ain't a way to go. That's a donut in the future.
Okay.
Weak glutes. Okay. So yeah, that's a cute trend that I definitely see that guys are like warming up to now. Everybody's in the hack squat. Everybody's like putting it all out there, and it's great to see because essentially we have to train every muscle, right? It's symmetry. So yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I've learned a lot.
Thank you.
With Keone, 2 times Mr. Olympia. You must know a thing about working out, I guess. Yeah. So we're asking people, about working out or fitness equipment. Is there anything that's new or top of mind from your perspective in terms of training styles or equipment that's important to you at the moment?
Yes, of course. Like as far as certain companies, if you're asking that, like more like a new tech or a gym code type of brand, those are great for my joints. And at this point of my training, it's all about training smart. Not harder, but just train smart. I'm getting to the point. I'm getting to the point in my career to where like I gotta be very precise of how I train and what I train on.
Okay. Nutrition and supplementation. Like there's a lot of sort of stuff out there. Some works, some doesn't. You've obviously been able to get in fantastic shape. What things would you say are pretty important if you want to get yourself in, build some muscle and get lean?
Well, for one, you got to be consistent. You know that. I know that. We all should know that. Number 2, you just got to have the right guidance and the right coach. And honestly, you just got to stick to the goal. Like a lot of people can pull you left and right and tell you should do this, you should do that. You should stick to one person and know what they're talking about and follow the plan. But yeah, definitely, man. If you're trying to get in your best shape, you just got to be consistent on the diet, just like anything else.
And what are some of the things from diet? Is it like, quite a few people are talking about protein and certain types of protein. Like what are just some very sort of simple things that you can follow that would apply to most cases?
First one is your water intake. A lot of people struggle with the water intake. That's going to help you flush, especially when you're trying to do a cut. Quality sources of protein, quality carbs, that's going to help with your digestion. And the most important thing is finding the right foods that's for your body.
All right. And last one, is there anyone on social media or any podcasts that you've listened to that have particularly inspired you to take yourself to another level?
Oh, yes, definitely. As far as podcasts, it's like the Dennis James podcast.
Which one?
Dennis James.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that podcast?
No.
No, that's like one of the biggest bodybuilding podcasts there are.
Really?
Yes,
okay.
it is.
Well, I've learned something.
There we go. Type it in, Dennis James Podcast. He's a huge inspiration. Are you familiar with Dennis James?
I'm not. No.
Really?
Yeah.
One of the best bodybuilders that's done it.
Wow. I've got a lot to learn.
Well, yeah.
All right.
Well, his podcast is the podcast that inspired me. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And anyone else that you're following on social media that are worth us checking out, particularly for someone like me who's disconnected with, like, in your world?
Yeah, man. It's just, there's a lot of, you got Chris Cormier. He's a legend. Familiar with Chris Cormier? He's been the top of the game next to Ronnie Coleman, one of the best of all time. So just people like himself. So,
All right.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yes, no
Appreciate
problem.
your time. Thanks. Lexi, Lutz.
Hi.
We've had lots of guys today, all right, and we're trying to balance that. We've had the lady, you're the second lady on here, and
Nice.
we're in LA trying to understand like what's going on in the fitness space, and I've got 3 questions I want to ask you.
Okay.
The first one is about training, like training and equipment. Is there any training styles and equipment that is resonating with you at the moment, or is quite important in terms of your career?
I think that your training program is unique to every individual based on what your goals are. Right now, I'm on a 3-day leg split because I'm a bikini girl. So
3-day leg split. Come on,
Yes.
tell us what that involves.
that's legs 3 times a week. So a lot of hip thrusting, a lot of hamstrings, a lot of glute kickbacks. I only have an upper body 1 day a week. So I'm just more lower body focused because those are my goals, but it's unique to every individual.
And what about equipment? Is there any type of equipment? Are you using machines, bands? Like what do you found successful?
I use a resistance band for a warm up to do some kind of glute activation or shoulder activation, and then I will use a variety of different machines and cable work depending on the muscle that I'm targeting.
All right. Nutrition and supplementation. It's kind of a bit of a.
Yeah.
There's always some new fad.
Yeah.
You've obviously figured it out yourself. What are some of the tips that you you could recommend would be good basics for anyone?
Well, this may be shocking. I'm actually vegan. I've been vegan over 10 years. I've been a plant-based athlete, and I'm also natural. So I think my kind of come up in success in the industry has been a little bit different from most people's, but my recommendation would be to hire a coach. I'm not like, I'm not qualified enough to really give that kind of information to other people, because the first thing I did was hire a coach and went off of their direction on what was best for me.
What about protein? Because you hear a lot, in order to build muscle, and you've certainly got some muscle there, they say protein's important, particularly animal protein. So how have you, what type of protein are you taking that gives you the results you need?
I do a soy protein isolate, and I also do different versions of pea protein. Believe it or not, vegetables do have protein as well, so you can get a decent amount of protein from a variety of different food sources.
Okay. And people that influence you, whether it's on social media or podcasts, who inspires you, or where do you go to learn some of the latest information that you think is important?
I would say YouTube is the biggest platform that I go to, just because I prefer long form content. Somewhere like TikTok and how rapid it is, I don't believe that that's a good source of information. I like YouTube, so I typically follow people that I want to be like one day. So for me, that's like the Bikini Olympians, the girls that are super successful and that have really made it. That's what I want to be like one day. So I follow them and do what they do.
All right. So what's the next thing? What's your next goal?
I'm hoping to compete at the Arnold this year, which is in 4 weeks. So hopefully get a national qualification, maybe get a pro card, go as big as I can this year. That's the goal.
Well, congratulations. Thanks very much for your time. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.